Hey, welcome to Perth Backyard Veg. Today I'm going to show you how to set up a stackable worm farm. You're going to need a paper bag, some partially broken down compost, some coconut core as the bedding, some shredded paper, coffee grinds is going to be acting as some grit for the worms, some food scraps for them to eat, some brown leaves as another layer of carbon and bedding, and of course most importantly is our worms. Now these are red wiggler compost worms, not your standard earthworms. We have a small amount to start with, but they multiply once you get your bed up and running. Now let's get started. We are going to use this paper bag here to create a base layer in our stackable worm system. This will stop the worms falling through the bottom as we first start out. They can climb up the sides and get back in if they do end up in that base layer, but we like to put the paper down to help keep them and all of the dirt and everything in this layer of the tower. Next, we're going to add a lot of carbon. So we've got our brown leaves that we've collected. This not only acts as a bedding for the worms, but they will also eat through these leaves as well. Next in also goes our coconut core. Again, this will help form part of the bedding layer for our worms, and they will actually start eating through this as well as the food. Next in will go our partially broken down compost. This will give them kind of soil layer to live in, and as with all of these layers, they're going to start eating through it. This is from our other composting system, some of the chunkier stuff that hasn't broken down. Now in go our food scraps. When you're first setting up, you don't want to put too much in. We've also cut these up quite small to help the worms eat through this. We'll check on this after a week or two just to see how they're going and if they've eaten through this food. As they get established and the population in this farm increase, you can increase the amount of food waste that you're putting in. Water the system down at this point. We're also going to water it down again towards the end. Next in will go our coffee grinds. This is acting as grit for the worms. You can also put in some eggshells, some sand, anything else, because they don't have any teeth, so they need the grit in their digestive system. Time to add our worms to our system. I'm going to sprinkle them throughout. Like I said, we haven't got too many worms at this stage. Once they get established and start eating, they will also start to multiply. Now we're going to add over the top of them to keep them protected some shredded paper and some extra leaves. Again, this gives them a bedding layer. It's where they can go and lay their eggs, and it gives them some more carbon to balance out that food. We will add in more food scraps as we go, so that's why we're very heavy on the carbon. I'm going to water again down now. It's important that you do this after you've added the leaves and paper so that you're not drowning the worms by watering directly on top of them. Now this next step is optional, but we do like to add a cardboard layer to the top. They love getting in between the crevices of cardboard. Helps keep all the moisture in. We're going to water it down again. A worm farm shouldn't be too wet. You want it to be the consistency of a damp sponge. They need some moisture, but you don't want them to drown. And that's the final step of setting up your worm tower. Subscribe to Perth Backyard Veg for more videos on how to vermicompost in your backyard.